Hey guys, Matthew, and welcome to episode number 11 of the Casual Exile series. Today we are going to be talking about what you should farm. Now this is basically something that I see all the time. Probably one of the most common thing that happens to me when people come to my stream for the first time, or even in my comment section of my YouTube videos. People will ask me what to farm. What should I do to make currency? Well, the thing is, there's actually a lot of data available to you that is free and that is public, that is very, very easy to find, that will tell you exactly what you should be doing based on your character's specifications. Are you playing a bossing character? Are you playing an entry-level kind of mid-Atlas build that is able to farming maps? Are you capable of doing 100% delirious maps, right? What is your character actually capable of? Depending on this information is going to be very, very relevant to you. No matter what you're doing, this is essentially going to tell you exactly what you should farm and what kind of profit you should be expecting to make. So there's two different tools, like I said, and the first one is the PoE Profit Sheet. Now, as always, I have the link to this Google document in the description of the video, which is the basically text version of this series with some additional information. But this is what the profit sheet look like. Now, I would highly recommend that you go and check out the README plus copy instructions inside of it. You can't see it because of my overlay, but what this is going to allow you to do is to make your own copy, because this is a very data intensive document, so it tends to crash, and there's also a lots of people who are using it at any given time, which also tends to make it crash. Within all these numbers are basically all automatically updating every few hours. So there's a lot of instability within the profit sheet, so you need to make your own copy so that you don't have any issues with it. All right, so here's what I want to talk about. This profit sheet has literally everything in the game, almost, at least when it comes to non-rare items, so nothing to do with crafting or anything like that. But when it comes to bosses, prophecy farming or prophecy flipping, divination card flipping, miscellaneous, such as things like upgrading, maps with harbingers orbs, what's the best, everything is there. Even things that I mentioned in the last video, such as like upgrading things like your breach stones or your essences, incursion vials, literally everything. Pretty much everything that I've covered so far in this series. If you care about just the data and the values, you can find in this profit sheet. Pretty much, as crazy as that sounds. But today we are going to be focusing on the first page, which is bossing. And the reason for that is because this is the sheet that I'll be talking about when it comes to bossing, and then we're going to move on to the second tool when it comes to the more mapping strategies. So the way that this works, and the thing that I want to talk about is the average profit, right? What boss should you be farming? Now, clearly you want to be farming the boss with the highest profit, right? 40 chaos here on average, and then this guy's only got a profit margin of 0.3 chaos. Yeah, that's not great, right? This isn't great. This isn't great. You want to be farming the bosses that are likely to lead you to profit, right? That would make sense. Everybody wants to make money. So you're going to be able to go through this and just figure out what is the best boss that I can farm to make some profit. So let's go ahead and find one. So for example, that's not great. Maybe we can do better than 5 chaos. So let's keep going until we find something. Nothing crazy under Breach Lord farming. What about beasts? Okay, so beasts aren't bad. We can see that on average, for example, Finumu's First of the Night has an average profit of 21 chaos. Meanwhile, Pharaoh's has an average profit of 28 chaos. Now, this is actually a perfect example because these two are actually basically opposites, and it's going to allow me to very easily explain what I'm trying to explain here, or what I want to explain. The thing is, looking at the profit and just going for the highest number is not necessarily a good thing to do. Now, you might think that it's a good idea because obviously Pharaoh's, for example, has more profit than Finumu's, therefore it's better. That makes sense. There's only a problem with that. You need to pay attention to what's in the drops over here. Now, I've all explained that in text form in the document, but anyways. So the important thing is to look at the odds of getting some of these drops and what their value is. So if you look at the cost of Pharaoh's, it's 15C, right? To actually get the beast, and you have a 100% chance of getting Pharaoh's First of the Plains, which is worth 6 chaos. That means that your net chaos per run, what it's actually costing you, is 9 chaos, because you can sell this every single time. It's a 100% chance. So you're spending 9 chaos, and you're going to get one of these. 35% of the chance you're going to get a Pharaoh's Bite, which is worth 4 chaos. 20% you get this, 30% this, and then 15% this. So the thing is here is that if you look at this, there's basically only one item that is actually worth anything, because quite frankly, maybe the Pharaoh's Bite, the Chase, and these 3C items are never going to sell. Maybe they're going to sell, maybe they're never going to sell, right? A lot of the time, rolls are going to be important here, but I digress. So what you're essentially farming for is for Pharaoh's Fur. And whenever you do drop a Pharaoh's Fur, which is worth on average 33 chaos, it's going to pay for the entirety of the run and then some, right? Multiple runs. Now, here's the problem. The problem is that most of the runs, you're not going to get anything. Most of the runs, you're going to get your Pharaoh's First of the Plains, which is the Beast Craft, and then you're going to get literally items that are not even worth the chaos, which you're never going to be able to sell. And the problem with that is that if you're somebody who's a newer player or a casual player, is that you can't afford to farm 150 of those to get lucky and get a bunch of these Pharaoh's Fur to make that profit. So you want to be looking for things that are going to be more consistent, more money every single time, even if overall it might be less. So a good example for that would be Fenumus. Pharaoh's is one drop that pretty much pays for everything in multiple runs, but Fenumus is quite the opposite. Fenumus will cost you 5C instead of 15, so already it's quite significantly cheaper. And the Fenumus, which is the First of the Night, which is the actual craft that you get from Fenumus, is actually worth 12 chaos. So that means that no matter what you do, when you buy this boss here, you are going to make profit. It's impossible to lose money if you're buying Fenumus for 5C and you're getting the craft, which is worth 12C. It's impossible to lose money. You're doubling your money every single time, no matter what the other drops are. Now, if you look at the other drops, we'll see that most of them are not really worth anything, but they're all pretty much close, somewhat close in terms of the odds of getting them, and they're all pretty close in value. So what that means is that you're spending 5C, you're getting 12C back every time. That's a profit of 7 chaos, and then you're getting a drop that's probably worth somewhere in the 10 chaos or above, potentially a lot more depending on the rolls, every single time as well, which adds on top of the 7 chaos that we spoke about, which means that no matter what you do, every single time you kill Fenumus, you're pretty much going to make the 20 chaos profit that is advertised, unlike the Pharaohs, which is only going to be one in every like 10 run or something that you're actually going to make any sort of profit. The difference here is that if you go ahead and do Pharaohs and you get unlucky for 10 runs in a row and you're, a casual or a new player, somebody who doesn't have a lot of currency on hand, is that you might go broke. You might literally go broke buying those. Meanwhile, Fenumus would be consistent profit every single run. And this is something that you really need to pay attention to and understand is what are the drops that I'm getting and where does this profit come from? You can't just look at the profit. Okay, so this is the first thing I wanted to talk about for people who are more focused on boss killing kind of characters. Now, of course, these values are not 100% accurate. They're pulled from PoE Ninja, but 99% of the time you can trust them, and it's going to give you a very good idea of what you should or shouldn't be doing. If the profit sheet says that it's a negative 22 chaos on average, chances are you shouldn't be doing that, right? Especially for somebody who can't afford to take a risk and to lose. So this is the first tool I want to talk about. It's extremely useful, but it only really covers boss killing. So for the people who are not boss killers and who want to focus on trying to make money through mapping, there is a second tool that I want to talk about, and this is PoE Profit. Now, PoE Profit is made / owned / powered by Grimro. So Grimro is another PoE content creator. I highly recommend checking him out. As you can see, even myself as a very, I guess you could say, veteran PoE player, I still watch almost every single one of his videos because they are that good and the information is that good. And yeah, the man is just a legend. So I'll be linking his YouTube channel in the description as well if you want to check that out. Highly recommend. So let's talk about the website now. The website is PoE Profit, and basically what it allows you to do is you have different categories, and these categories are going to come with the profit of doing those different things. So for example, if you go to breaches right now, we'll see that the highest money that you can make when it comes to farming breaches would be on average Tull. Now the thing is, saying that you're going to make 7 chaos profit on average is pretty so-so. We got to figure out why. So that's where this tool becomes really cool, is that you can click on these and it's going to give you additional information, and that's why it's so good. It's going to tell you all of the possible drops, right, and their value. Now the cool thing is that if you think, okay, if I get a Tollborn, I'll never be able to drop it, you can simply change these to 0 for the things that you wouldn't pick up or that you wouldn't try to sell, and all of a sudden, of course, it is going to change the value. So if you're like, I'm not picking up this, I'm not picking up this, I'm not picking up, you know, any of that, I'm only going to pick up the things that are worth at least 20 chaos or above, you'll see that the profit is going to go down, but you'll basically be able to configure based on what you are willing to pick up, which is going to give you a more realistic number or value in terms of how much profit you're going to be making. So if we remove these crappy drops, you'll see that those bridgestones on average is 6 chaos each in terms of profit. It's going to cost you about 2 chaos, and you're going to get about 8 chaos back. Now, this is not crazy, this is not incredible profit, but of course, if you pair that up with farming the invitation for the bridgestones, it can be a lot more interesting. And that's why we also need to talk about invitations, which is really cool on this tool. Something that I've never seen anywhere else is that we also have the invitations, we have legion strategies, like the profit on farming 5-way emblems, we have bestiary strategies, low tier scarab farming strategies, so farming maps with Alkin Go, but then a low tier scarab, like a rusted metamorph scarab, for example. We have a lot of different things here, and we even have like the best delirium orbs that you could be using. Now, of course, like I said, this is powered, owned, whatever, all by Grimro, which means this information and these odds are all basically based on his own trying of it, right? This is his own results that he has gathered after, well, over the course of his playtime. So it is pretty representative of the actual averages, but of course, it's not perfect. He's only one person, and even if there was 100 people working on this, unless you literally farm thousands and thousands and thousands of maps, it's going to be almost impossible to really get a 100% representative, actual data. But it can give you a very, very good example of what you should be doing. For example, if you're somebody who's like middle, of the Atlas, trying to currently, you're farming T12, T13, T14 maps or whatever, you're getting into those deeper red maps, but you need upgrades, you don't really know how to make currency, you could easily come into here, go to under Atlas strategy and figure out, okay, so according to the data, what should I be farming for maximum profit? Well, for example, we could look and see that if you were to farm essences in Heroic Hamlet, which you can literally do Alkin Go on white maps, it's not going to affect the outcome really. You could make on average 2.5 chaos per map in the different essences that you would get. If we look at, for example, farming bestiary in Lyra Thane, you're going to make on average, and so on and so forth. Now the cost is basically going to be due to the scarab that you need to buy or whatever, and of course there's going to be sometimes there's some costs, so like rusted legion scarabs, and then chaos orb for the actual legion map device on the on the map device. Putting legion is 6 chaos, and then buying the scarabs, so the total cost is 8.7 chaos, and on average you're going to make 17 chaos. And if you don't believe that, you can literally look at what the drops are and what their value are and edit them yourself, again, if there's things that you won't be picking up. Now, note that these strategies are basically only taking into consideration the drops that come from their specific strategy, So, for example, if we look at New Vastir and we look at Legion, it's an average profit of 17.3 chaos per map. But the thing is, that is only from the emblems, only from the incubators, and that's it, right? This doesn't consider the fact you're going to drop chaos, you're going to drop Exile, you're going to drop maps, you're going to drop this, that, you're going to drop a load of other things that you're also going to be able to sell and make money off of. It doesn't consider rituals. Obviously, if you do your rituals, you're going to be able to make even more money, or if you encounter like an Alva or whatever, you're going to be able to make even more money than just what's listed. But I highly, highly recommend using and getting accustomed to these two tools because they are absolute game changers, especially if you're a newer player, a casual, somebody who doesn't get a ton of time to play. whatever you are actually playing, whatever, be it an hour or two, you need to actually be doing stuff that actually leads you to whatever your goal is. Unless you don't have a goal and you're just kind of playing to waste your time, that's okay too. Whatever's fun for you. But for the people who are trying to actively make currency to better their build, better this, better that, they need to actually be consistently, everything you do in the game should be working towards a goal. And the easiest way to figure out what you should be doing to make that, you know, road as easy and as quick as possible is these two tools, in my opinion. That pretty much does it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Before I go, I do want to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. So Jordan, Lost with a Map, Krem is so nice, Flame Scorpion, Nathaniel, Richard, JW Player, Scott, Young B, Tuck Tuck, Michael, Ashley, Pabloms, Cool, Keebs, Marcus, Justin, Matt, Kevin, Powell, Mercury, Ethan, Citry, Jared, Axel, and Acid, and a special thank you to Phenom and Trevor as well. Thank you guys all so much for supporting me. The list has gotten incredibly long. Thank you guys seriously so very much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.